I had the greatest time in Cleveland. The Cleveland people were great. I think they know how much I like them. If they've seen any of my posts or whatever, they were just fantastic throughout.
Hey, it's Joey Morona from cleveland.com and the Plain Dealer. I'm here at the Fortress of Solitude, getting ready to talk to Superman director James Gunn and Cleveland's own Isabella Merced. Of course, the cast and crew of Superman spent 1 month last year shooting the film in Cleveland. We've got stories all week coming to you, and don't forget to see the movie in theaters July 11th. There's a lot of Cleveland in this movie, more than I expected. What did it mean to bring the production there, and why was it important to get that on film?
I mean, really, we cast cities in the same way we cast actors, and we looked all over for the place that was the best metropolis. We liked Cincinnati a lot, but we really liked Cleveland, and a lot of it's because of all the old Art Deco architecture that people really don't know about in Cleveland. So although we were making whatever city we filmed in a much bigger city than it is, Cleveland worked best for all of the basic architecture we're using up close.
Peter said it was poetic that you shot there because obviously it's the birthplace of Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster. Did it mean to you more than, tax credits and architecture?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was really moving. I didn't really know that they were from Cleveland until I was in Cleveland and I heard it and I'm like, oh, wow. And right after I heard that, I came around the corner and Terminal Tower was there and they had lit it up with the colors of Superman because of our location crew being there. It was a really magical moment.
I know that All-Star Superman was a big influence, but what about, Schuster and Siegel's original incarnation spoke to your vision for this movie?
The heart of Superman, the goodness and the purity of Superman started out with those guys. I think the basic look of Superman. Superman has had many collaborators over the years, but none of it exists without the seed that was planted by Jerry and Joe.
This is a coming-of-age story, not an origin story. Meta-humans have been there a while, and Superman, he's just getting started figuring things out.
Yeah.
Why did you start there?
Because I feel like we've seen Superman's origin more times than we can count, and we've also actually seen a lot of Superman post his relationship with Lois, whether it's their boyfriend-girlfriend or they're married. I think seeing Superman when he's first starting out in the first 3 months of his relationship, when Lois can't figure out really what does she want this relationship to be, was sort of fertile territory because it's something we'd never been, it's never been focused on in any media, really.
And why was it important for you to tell a story in the world that we're living today about someone, an alien, whose pureness and goodness, humanity, is essential to him?
I mean, I think that people are excited for this movie because of the innate goodness and kindness of Superman. I think a lot of people, over the years have thought of Superman as old-fashioned and too Pollyanna and too earnest. And I think all those things are what make him the world's biggest rebel right now, because it does go against the grain of what our popular culture is like these days.
I thought it was super interesting watching the movie that all these fantastical elements, the pocket universe, the flying dog, those kind of, make Superman's humanity stand out even more.
One of the interesting things is I think we come into this movie and we're like, hey, we want to be Superman. We want to be superhuman, super strong, fly, beams out of our eyes. And then we realize over the course of the movie that Superman wants nothing more than to be human, to be us. That's what he cherishes, the connections, the loving other people and being loved by other people.
There's some world building here. How important is this film and its success to what you're building at DC?
It's really important. I think that, first and foremost, I always care about just this movie by itself. I'll never sacrifice any moment in this movie for some future thing. I'm not going to put stuff in there that hurts the movie. But it just so happens that because I wanted Superman to have friends, both, superhuman, like the, Justice Gang, and human, like the Daily Planet Gang, it works pretty well for setting up future stories that don't involve Superman, but involve those characters.
What is the through line of, Gods and Monsters, this chapter that you're building?
Oh, well, I think we'll have to wait around and see that.
Okay, fair enough. What was the challenge, in just laying the groundwork for the DCU while making Superman, feel fresh, but also staying true to who he is and, his legacy?
I think in a way I was daunted by the challenge, but when I started working on the film, it became pretty easy because I'm a Superman fan. And so I found it pretty easy to be true to how I conceive Superman, how most people conceive Superman, most Superman fans see Superman. But at the same time, also, adding some things that maybe we hadn't seen in a movie before that comes from my love of Superman in the comic books.
Just, for the people of Cleveland, anything to say to them about, your month there shooting the movie?
I had the greatest time in Cleveland. The Cleveland people were great. I think they know how much I like them. If they've seen any of my posts or whatever, they were just fantastic throughout. And I've got a billion Cleveland T-shirts that I wear to this day.